I think it was a great choice because anything that Bori's added to immediately becomes better. Just
I've been saying.
Yeah. when you became the voice of Comedy Central, stock went up.
I disagree. Now that's where I'll disagree. I think under the Kyle Kinane regime, they were doing pretty good.
What?
And now they stink.
South Park just had its 25th anniversary. That doesn't happen by accident.
The Daily Show is stronger than it's ever been.
It's stronger. We got a black Daily Show now. That's me.
You know what the streets were calling for? A black Daily Show. Get rid of Yo MTV Raps. We want a black Daily Show.
The government growing babies. Microchips in your anus. All koala bears are racist. The ozone layer owes me money. Martians invented turkey stuffing. Y'all can't tell me nothing.
Yep. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another phenomenal episode of My Mama Told Me.
The podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories.
And we finally worked to prove that Vin Diesel is in fact working on an alternative energy source that is not powered by gasoline, but in fact powered by family. That's right. You bring the family together, you protect the family, and that's what makes your car go vroom vroom. I'm your host, Langston Kerman.
And I'm David Bori, and I love family.
You love family. I knew that about you.
Yeah, that just means I'm out of gas.
He's like, hey, bro, give me a ride. We're family. Well, we can't bullshit about family any longer. We have a very funny, very talented guest today. We both know him very well. You know him as a writer on Dave, seasons 1 and 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Seasons 2 and 3, but
2 and 3, fuck yeah, okay.
And 4, 5, and 6, I just called my shot.
He's calling it.
Let's go.
It's in the air. It'll come down in about 6 months. But that said, he's very hilarious. You've seen him on Comedy Central. Give it up for our guest today, Mr. Biniam Bizuneh.
What up? I'm so excited.
What up, dog?
I've been a longtime fan of the show. I loved watching when it first came out and you had like all the different animations and people were talking. It just was such a cool concept. And I loved talking shit about conspiracies. So very honored to be here.
That's wow. Nobody ever volleys it back to us and says nice things. So that's really sweet that you would do that.
I mean, I didn't know. When did you become a co-host, Bori? I didn't even know.
That hurts.
He's been here for long enough. If you were really a fan, you would know.
God damn it.
I've gone onto the podcast app and listened to episodes with the like Yasser's episode, and I think I've listened to like Garrick's or somebody's but this was all like during COVID maybe or like so I didn't know that there was like a new change up. So then when I heard you were gonna be on it too, I was like, oh, 2 for 1. Let's go.
Double down. It's a double down.
Yeah, Bori has proven himself to be an essential player here. We value his membership very much. And in probably the last 12 episodes, you can hear his voice in all of them, I would say, maybe. All right, we've bullshitted long enough because you came with a conspiracy theory that, frankly, I had never heard of. Bori, I think you said you had.
Yeah.
You know, this, Bori, you knew about this because it's an African thing. Like, this is like Ethiopia is one of their claims to fame is that we have...
Whoa. Don't jump the gun here.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Well, we got to intro it. I love the enthusiasm, but you said, my mama told me.
The Ark of the Covenant is hidden in a church in Ethiopia.
Yes.
Tell us more. Tell us everything you know.
Okay, so my parents are Ethiopian, born there, moved to America in like the 80s. And one of my dad's favorite pastimes is telling me about Ethiopian history and lore and
Mm.
just having a lot of pride. He's always saying things like Ethiopia was never colonized. Ethiopia beat Italy. They tried to get us, but we beat them twice. You know, there's a lot of pride, and I think that's like central to the Ethiopian ethos is this kind of superiority complex. Like they think they're great.
Oh, you think that's just you guys?
Oh, tell me what it's like over there, Sierra Leone. What do they
We
feel?
also think we're great. That's all I have to say.
All Africans think they're the best Africans.
Yeah, it was like that's part of being from there.
Yeah.
I will say that we did an episode earlier this year about a different Ethiopian conspiracy theory, or at least somewhat rooted in Ethiopian conspiracy theory. But I discovered, and I didn't know this, that Wakanda is theoretically based on Ethiopia. That like,
Wow.
y'all are the inspiration for this idealistic society existing on the African. And part of it is the fact that you guys, to your point, are one of the few nations that has never been colonized and had like a bunch of wealth at certain points that like far exceeded everybody else.
You know, I've been to Ethiopia, and let me just say, the movie is not an accurate depiction by these they really upped it. But yeah, I think there is like this kind of like, you know, Haile Selassie was like this dude who created the African Union, and a bunch of people have like pride over him being like the last emperor, all this stuff. I did not know that though. I didn't know Wakanda was based on that. Who brought it? Did Solomon Giorgio bring that in?
Oh, that sounds like something he would know.
I feel like it might have been Solomon who came with Wakanda is real, if I'm not mistaken.
So
I'm not a big Wakanda guy. I'm just saying that.
Oh shit. That's a hard stance.
okay, when you saw David, when you saw the movie, were you
we have to do this now? Because this is why I don't have a Twitter.
Well, let's put it on the record. Let's get it out there. When you saw the movie, were you like, finally, like African excellence depicted? How did you feel?
I felt like in the movie, they were like, we have this magical space rock that makes us better than the rest of the Africans. They said it. They literally said, then we would be like the rest of them. Well, I'm the rest of them. Suck a dick. That's how I felt about that whole shit. How you gonna have the one superhero movie based in Africa and you still fight Africans at the end? Somehow the major war is still black people versus black people? That's insane.
Yo,
that's crazy.
You've been mad about this the whole time.
Since I went to the theater.
And you know what? That's why a lot of people left the movie being like Killmonger was right, was because that was basically his point. He was like, you guys got all this power, all this money, all these weapons, and you're not sharing it with anybody. And
you're
like,
actively hating on everybody else.
Damn.
But no, sure, go save the fucking, do what the EU wants you to do.
But they do open the borders at the end of it. That's what they say, that they're welcoming the world in.
That's the ending of it. True. But he only changed that way because Killmonger like had rubbed off on him, right? He was like,
I don't know how they hadn't seen it before.
I'm just saying, if you beat my ass, afterwards, I rethink some things. That's what they got. He got punched in the fucking jaw, and he was like, you know what? I do got to be a better person. And that's kind of nice. That's a good moral of the story.
We are not here.
I
just know a few other Africans who feel the same way I did about that movie is all I'm saying.
Well, what I will say that's accurate, that ties back to what we're talking about, is that...
please tie it back. We need to be tethered.
Is that like Ethiopians, and I've heard this from other Africans too, they have a feeling of being better, you know? And like you were saying, Sierra Leone people think they're better. And like I've heard my aunt say terrible things. She'll be like, oh, you're not black, you're Ethiopian. And like shit like that, where you're like, yo, you're black too. What are you talking about? You know?
Right.
The diaspora is very complicated.
Yeah. these older people who come to America. You know what I think it's rooted in? It's like people, you're African, you're living in a country where everyone looks like you come to America, and then you see how black people get treated, and then you're like, oh, let me separate myself so I don't get treated like something like that. It's like model minority type bullshit happens. And I guess that's what Black Panther accurately depicted with that attitude.
I will say that is what you're speaking to is, as an American Black person, what sort of like for us is the thing where y'all are like, man, the Black people always hating on Africans. Some of it, and some of it's obviously rooted in a type of self-hatred and shit. But some of it is because y'all motherfuckers walk around constantly telling us you're better than us.
And it is true. But also while wearing like penny loafers and track pants.
Yeah.
It's
you got on the same school uniform I do, bro. How are you that much better than me?
I mean, that's the thing. It's never coming from people our age. It's coming from a dude driving your Uber telling you that. And then you're like, bro, come on. Like,
I mean, but they're not just driving Ubers. There's a bunch of Nigerian, really everything.
I would say Nigerians are the most educated, I think, diaspora group in general, not even just African group. Like, they're the highest educated, right?
Really?
Wow. That's what Opie told me. He said that.
Opie the Nigerian?
Yeah. That, like, I mean, and it's true because, like, the Nigerians are rich. They're all, like,
they're so
doctors,
rich.
Businessmen, lawyers. But I don't know. I can't speak for Nigerians. I haven't heard Nigerians saying that. I don't know. But I know I have heard it from older Ethiopian people. And I think that, like, it's all part of that. And the Ark of the Covenant thing is that they think that in this church, in this place called Aksum, that this Ethiopian king, Menelik, brought back the Ark like centuries and centuries ago and brought it to this church. And
brought it from where?
I think from Israel, right?
We'll get into some of this in the research, but basically he's believed to have stolen it from Solomon's son. That like Solomon had a bastard child that that showed up late in life, and Solomon gifted him the Ark of the Covenant. And then that dude fucked with Ethiopia super hard and was gonna like travel to Ethiopia to like kick it. But in meeting up with this emperor dude, the emperor dude tricked him and replaced the Ark with a fake one and then stole the other joint.
See, it's like that level of detail is what my dad knows. I know. I just know the basic part, which is that it's in this church in Aksum, and they appoint people to be guards. And if you're appointed, it's like the Supreme Court, where it's for life. You are a guard, and the only people that are allowed to look at it is that I've read things that say that there are 2 guards. I've read things that say that there are 1 and they switch off, but that's the only person allowed to lay eyes on it. So if you were trying to do some independent research and verify if it was real, you're not allowed to.
And that sounds crazy, because if you're a guard for life, I'll beat your ass at 80. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll just wait till you get old. And then I'm going to go look at that goddamn Ark.
You know,
I thought you weren't supposed to look at it. And maybe is that what happened in the movie? I thought if you looked at it, your face was going to melt.
Yeah, that's what Indiana Jones said.
Oh, okay. All right.
I feel like they just
I'm mixing up my historical texts.
Yeah. They needed it to be like some like shit for the movie so that there was like a surprise or whatever. But that's not in the Ethiopian text. They just think that this is the shit that held the stone tablets that have the 10 Commandments on them. And it's like a wooden thing that's caked in gold. And it's like the original shit that like Moses had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's the belief that Moses was like, hey, y'all, build a container for the commandments. And then they did that.
Yeah. And I also read this other thing that said that the guards are trained in hand-to-hand combat to like fight anyone who comes up. Now, what I don't know is when you do get to be 80, like you're saying, do they then go like, bro, you got to retire. You're not going to be a very good guard. Like,
Right.
Like you can't choose to retire, they'll retire you because they like know that
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Also, my question: what is this, like some type of Ethiopian kung fu? Like, what is this? Because I'm impressed if you guys have your own karate.
I've never heard of any Ethiopian fighting style. I would say
That's not good news.
no, never.
A lot of people are going to listen to this and be like, I'm going to go see that fucking Ark now.
Because if there was an Ethiopian fighting style, I think we would be good at any sport other than long distance running. That's the only thing we can do. And it's the like only non-contact type, like non-combat, non-strength based thing.
Damn.
Yeah, like that's the one thing we dominate in. Any other type of sport like that takes, they always say this. They say like East Africa is slow twitch muscles, West Africa is fast twitch. So all of the like
You heard him.
Yeah. So it's like sprints, football, whatever.
Wait, who always says that? That's wild. Who always says that?
Athletes, like I ran track and
White athletes?
It sounds like
Don't let them say that to you.
no. That sounds like some eugenics shit that's like fucked up, but it's actually a term in kinesiology, like fast twitch and slow twitch muscle.
No, I know about
Yeah.
I know about muscle fibers. I'm talking about regional African benefits of muscle fibers. Sounds like fucking phrenology, and I wouldn't let some white boy sprinter talk to me like that.
I think it sounds like you're saying Joe Rogan is an athlete. And listen, he can kick the shit out of a bag, but I wouldn't call him an athlete.
I heard this from track coaches all through, like I ran cross country in high school and college, and they would say like all of the world records can be traced to West Africa in sprints, and all of the world records in distances 5,000 and above can be traced to East Africa. And they were like, it's due to just, like in East Africa, lots of things are at altitude and you're just growing up in that way. And over time, people, it's like weight training, because it's like you get so good at training when there's like no oxygen in the air, and then you go to sea level and you're just racing. It's like Goku taking off the heavy clothes.
Yeah.
It's easy. And then as far as West Africa goes, I have no idea why there's just like faster.
Roti.
I mean, as a West African from the Mile High City, I will say to you, when I go to sea level, I am like a god. Like you hear the term God body, that's how I feel. I'm so fast on the beach.
I wish there was one good Ethiopian sprinter. It's never happened. Where like people would always like, because I ran like long distance, I would do like the mile and 2 mile and the 5K and stuff. People would always be like, "Oh, you're the runner, you're fast," and I'm like, "Yeah, over like a mile or longer, you get me in 100 or 200 meters, I'll get dusted by most people."
Right.
The fast twitch and slow twitch shit does sound like some shit. A European scientist was like, the Africans on this side of the continent are faster. Over here, they're more,
and they can't feel pain.
Yeah, 100%.
They're so musical.
You know what the problem is that we've commodified athletes so much that we can't disassociate like the language of science and slavery. Do you know what I mean? Like it truly is like, I don't know if the reason you talk like that is because of slavery or because that's literally the only way we could describe what you're seeing.
Yeah. And I guess it's like,
it also goes along it takes the same route as most coded racist language.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, no, it's science. It's not. It's just a regional. Like that's what people get into when then they're talking about smaller heads, thus as far smaller brain.
Mhm.
Like it's like the same. It lives in the same place that all that.
Yeah, it's not LeBron James's a genius that should be acknowledged as such. It's LeBron
Right.
James just got that big old body and those fast twitch muscles. So,
Yeah, nobody ever talks about his photographic memory though.
Yeah,
That's
which
true.
he fully has.
Because
Yeah,
I will say, there's a
That's why he's better than Jordan. He's a genius. Michael Jordan's not a genius.
All right.
He's like
Well,
a
I didn't
psycho.
like the way this took a turn, but Biniam, you were speaking.
I mean, the part that gets left out of these kind of like conversations about certain areas of the world and why athletes are as good as they are is that there's a bunch of Ethiopians who are slow as hell and suck at
Right.
long distance running. And there's a bunch of West Africans that are not good at the 100-meter dash.
Wash
But-
your mouth.
But the correlation is what makes people go like, oh, okay, you can draw some, but even that, it is a little dangerous. I hear
Yeah.
it.
It's scary. It's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah.
Listen, we have to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to find out if Biniam is willing to quit comedy to become the fastest Ethiopian on the planet. This is exciting shit that we're building here. We'll be back with more Biniam Bizuneh, more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
Back.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
Yeah. All right. We're back here with more Biniam Bizuneh, more My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about the possibility that the Ark of the Covenant is not where Indiana Jones was hunting, but in fact hidden in a church in Ethiopia surrounded by potentially very old warrior monks.
Yes. I love the term warrior monk, by the way,
Yeah,
because
actually.
I feel like it's a very thankless job that these guys have. I would be very surprised if they're allowed to have sex. I bet probably not.
Well,
Oh,
also,
you can't get no pussy up there.
no, not next to the Ark. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Not even hand stuff. My thing is also because, like, how many people are running up on the Ark of the Covenant? Like, that's what I think the hard thing about that job is they probably never have to. How often do they really have to defend it?
Okay.
Oh.
So this might get into the research, but I was reading up on this and there was a researcher, European dude, I assume he was British, who like sometime in the middle of the 20th century, like 1950s, 1960s, he wanted to see if this Ark was really in this church. And he came up and he had like gunmen with him and he was like, sorry, y'all, I don't give a fuck about your customs. I'm just walking in. And he walked past, went inside, and he wrote that he looked at it and thought it was just a replica. And he was like, sadly, this isn't the Ark of the Covenant. But
Wow.
Also,
Oh.
they just rolled over and let that. They just let that happen, huh?
I guess I don't think they have guns. All they have are just like
Damn.
walking. They just have like walking staffs.
Like,
They're
all
like,
they got,
hey man, could we have guns? And they're like, no, man, you got it, you're trained.
you got that East African karate.
Yeah.
Come on, man, use some slow twitch muscles.
Look, I feel like if all you can do is be good at running away, probably not going to be good at fighting the dude with guns. I would love to have seen how that went down. If they like put up a fight, or if they were just like,
I have to assume they were like, you got it. Go ahead,
Oh,
take a look, my
man.
guy.
Oh man. Oh, that makes me so sad.
You just make me sit in a cellar all day preparing for the worst job, which is defending this wooden basket. No, go ahead, look at
But
it.
the one time you get to prove yourself and that the job was worth it, and the years of commitment that you put in learning hand-to-hand Ethiopian combat, and then you were just like, nah.
Come on, man, you got a gun. I thought we was just doing fist fights down here, but all right, you shooting? Go ahead.
see, I just feel like you're supposed to die for it. That's probably what they were told, right?
That's what
Like-
I would assume.
You got to die for this. And when I read this account, it didn't talk about any bloodshed. So I think that I don't blame them, because I would do the same thing, but it sounds like they weren't really about it, you know?
Yeah, they need to get some fast switches in there.
Yeah. If we had a couple of the people from the film that our country is based on defending it, then maybe they wouldn't have stood a chance. But
So you already started talking about some pretty important moments, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last known non-Ethiopian person, and I'm not sure if this is the person you're talking about or if this is a different individual, but the last non-Ethiopian person who is said to have saw the Ark is this dude, Edward Uhlendorf is his name, who basically found himself stationed in Ethiopia while fighting for Britain in World War II, and then becomes friends with Haile Selassie, and then is basically like escorted in. Like, they become so cool that he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll show you the Ark. And he says he sees it and believes it and writes stories about it years later.
so that's what I'm talking about. It's the same guy.
Whoa. So this is an example of the way that
Wait.
history can be fucking rewritten like a motherfucker.
Man, the white side of history.
Dog.
Yeah. That's
That's
so
the same
weird.
guy?
Yeah, because
That's-
I'm looking at the article right now to make sure, and he says that Uhlendorf was concerned after he gave an interview that he hoped that Ethiopian authorities did not become aware of the Los Angeles Times article, and then he never spoke to a reporter again about what he saw. But I guess he said, this is what it says entirely. He went to the Church of Mary Zion with a couple of soldiers. He spoke to the monks in the church in Amharic, asking to see the Ark. His request was refused. They said, "You can't go in. This is holy." He said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I want to go in." And he did go in with his soldiers behind him. They couldn't do anything to stop him.
Whoa. Yeah, things that I've read have made him seem like much more of a sweet, neutral figure who like kissed a king's hand enough times that he like carried him in there. That's wild.
This is dark.
I don't know which one is true, but this version says
I do. I think I know which one
I have
is
an
true.
idea.
I think that he marched in with his guns because
Hey, that's the one that's true, big dog. I think I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he did a meaner thing than what he's been telling people.
This is from
Yeah.
I'm reading from livescience.com, by the way. I'm just going to trust that they're reputable.
Whoa.
And it says that what he saw you can find in any Ethiopian church, which is a model of the Ark of the Covenant. He says it didn't differ in any way from many arks he's seen in any other churches in Ethiopia. It wasn't ancient, and it certainly wasn't the original Ark.
Damn.
Now,
How many arcs? How many arcs are there?
so
Why is there so many arcs?
so in all these other churches in Ethiopia, they have replica arks. Kind of.
Why?
I don't really know why.
I think it's in reference to the fact that it is widely understood in Ethiopia that they are housing the Ark of the Covenant. And so if you are following the same Christian Judaic principles, then you're going to be like, yeah, this is a symbol of our thing. And only the priest is allowed anywhere inside the circle where the Ark is kept during any sermon, like in any church, only the priest can go in that area.
Yeah. And I remember when I was 11, that's the only time I've been back there. There was this lake that we went out called like Lake Tana. And there were like little islands all on this lake, and there were churches on them. And I remember going, like, there was like something where like only men were allowed in the church or something. But I even think like there, we weren't allowed to like look at the Ark. We were just, even the replica, I don't think we were allowed to look at.
Oh, they're trying to play theirs off. They're like, yeah, we might have to real
No,
thing.
we might have it. How do you know?
Yeah. And it's like, I can't remember if we were allowed in or not, but I remember like being told that at the time, like we have these replica ones. And what was I about to say? Yeah, it's just widely. It's just one. It's another point of like, yo, we're out here killing it. Never been colonized. We got the Ark. Points on the board that
Yeah.
Ethiopians.
So just to walk us back a little bit, because I feel like we jumped immediately into some parts of this conversation that may not be totally clear to our audience. The Ark of the Covenant is a sort of like large wooden structure that has a little like house over it, where in theory it's like a chest basically with like a bunch of fancy things around it, that is said to be the holster for the 10 Commandments as commanded by Moses from God. And then the Israelites carried that exact thing through the desert for 40 years while they were trying to find their home.
Yep. And it's got those defining feature is like those
2 wings.
Yeah.
The two, I think they're angels. What are those things on the top?
I think it's got
I think they're wings. Yeah, I
They're
always
like,
assume
but
they
they're
were
like
angel
birds,
wings.
and their wings are facing towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like covered in gold. It's shiny, and then it's got these like sticks for carrying, so that you could have like almost like pallbearers. You know, like 4 people, kind of like supporting it from all sides.
Because, you don't put your Ark of the Covenant on the ground. I get that.
Nah.
Yeah.
You gotta
Don't put your
carry it.
purse on the ground. Don't put your Ark of the Covenant on the ground. Those are just 2 facts.
Because either way, somebody's slipping something in it or taking something out.
I mean,
somebody roofies the Ark of the Covenant.
That's how they got it to Ethiopia.
Right? That's what they did. They pulled a Ocean's 11 switcheroo type shit to get it there. Right?
That's a movie I want to see, Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean,
just 11 Ethiopian dudes in suits being like, we gonna steal the Ark of the Covenant.
I mean,
that sounds amazing.
It feels like it wouldn't take
it's pretty
that
cool.
much. All you have to do is show up with a gun. And it's like,
yeah, that's
okay,
true.
get in there.
That makes me feel like I could go get the Ark of the Covenant.
I mean, if it's this valuable, and you think about all the other art thefts that have happened where people like steal a Monet or whatever, you would think that someone would have tried to steal it.
Well, that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up, right? Is that like, look, you went into detail about how crazy they have to feel, or at least feel like they're protecting this item. And it's insane in part because museums are filled all across the world with items that were stolen from other countries.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there and they don't feel the same instinct. And I guess in some forms they do. They make it very hard, obviously, to steal
That's debatable.
Right, exactly. Things get stolen from museums all the time. And then even with that, they don't feel no shame about it. They're not like, yo, we got to hide it away so nobody can even lay eyes on it. They're like, no, look at it, but I'll fuck you up if you touch our stolen shit.
And I feel like with the Ark, their thing is based, it's like, it's not because of shame. It's because it's like, oh, it's so holy that your eyes aren't worthy to look at it. And they, from what I've read, it seems like they feel like they are the rightful keepers of it. Like, because it's a Christian thing more so than it belongs to this country or that country, is how they think of it.
Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly, I think Ethiopians have something in that they stayed loyal on some like Christian shit and sort of like were devoted to Christianity when every other sort of like sect of Christianity at one point in the Bible bailed. Like they were like, yo, we can't even rock with this shit no more. And Ethiopians were like, nah, we're still with it. We like, this is where we're at. And so then they're like, no, we are the original Christians. We are sort of like the source of everything that makes this thing valuable.
I wonder if the Black Israelites think that they have claim over the Ark of the Covenant, you know? Because if they're like, we're the original Israelites, maybe they're like, we should have it.
Right, because they're like, yo.
Maybe they have it.
Maybe they have it.
Has anybody actually listened to what they're yelling? They might be just yelling that.
What's the math? What's the math?
I heard the best thing. This is like maybe 2014 or so. And I was like around Slauson, and there were some dudes doing the Black Israelite thing with the megaphone. And there was like a main dude, and then he had a couple like helpers, and they were reading from the Bible. And the guy was reading back this thing, and he said, like, and from the water, the Leviathan came. And the main guy was like, read that back, read that back. And then the guy said it again. And from the waters, the Leviathan came. And the dude was like, Loch Ness Monster is real.
Yo! But also, I understand where he's coming from.
And that was where my brain went, where I was like, is that insane, or is that just a hard ass bar that like you can pull more information from when you need it? You know what I mean? Like,
That's what
he's
the
just
whole
spitting.
Bible is a hard ass bar.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it's just English class. That's how I feel. You find a little proof, and then you can extrapolate and be like, this is what this means, right?
Right. You can half read a book and get a whole lot of messages from whatever that is.
Who you telling? You think I finished the People's History of the United States? I'm like, no. No, I haven't.
So I looked up some of the examples of like things, sort of like the most famous things, I guess, that were stolen by other countries that are kept in other museums that, you know, truly everybody feels real comfortable flexing. The Rosetta Stone is an example that the British literally stole from Egypt and now have on display without a care in the world. Like, truly. And it's written in Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's not like it's, you know, a shared language. These motherfuckers just have their shit in their museum.
Egypt's got to go get it back, though. That's on them at this point.
They got to pull a Killmonger. And
You got to just go get that shit.
Like, I didn't even know the Rosetta Stone was a real thing. I thought that was just...
Yeah, dog.
I legit...
Oh, how to learn Spanish?
Yeah, I was like, this is a cool name for a company. If anything, Egypt should be getting some money off them, too.
I think it has something to do with the, and yes, I agree with you. The capitalism. Boo.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if we're going to start kicking back to Egypt everything that they invented, I mean, that's a long day.
Yeah. There's a lot of dudes I know with tattoos that are going to have to kick some bread.
Yeah, every Ankh tattoo's got to give them $10. That's going to take forever.
Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! That entire show is based on Egypt.
I feel like Erykah Badu's got to kick some money up.
Erykah Badu owes a lot of money to Egypt right now.
What are these other things?
Additionally, there's something called the Man-Eaters of Savo, which are displayed in the Chicago Field Museum, great museum, and are taxidermied bodies of two lions, which at their peak killed somewhere between 28 to 140 people in Kenya. So these lions are killing the fuck out of Kenyan people. Well, no, specifically Indian workers in Kenya at the time. I don't know. Geopolitics was wild. Anyway, they're killing all these people, and then one dude shoots them and has them taxidermied, and then ends up sending them to the United States for $5,000. And the Kenyan government was like, bro, what the fuck? This is the most famous two lions that have ever existed in history. Don't sell our shit. And now they just don't get them back.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything that, like, you know, like after World War II, how they were like, okay, we have like the world court and we can hold people responsible for shit. Like, can they do the same thing for these artifacts that were stolen from places in ancient times? They could be like, well, you're under our jurisdiction because we're the world, you know.
Yeah. I don't think so, because everybody just points to the transactions that justify it. So again, this dude technically did sell.
Like, we gave him $5,000.
They gave him $5,000 for the fucking lions. Like, why? What are you talking about?
He made a bad deal, but
yeah,
I guess it's a deal though. You know, what could they say?
I think that's the justification. Now you can turn back and look at like, yo, there are cultural justifications, human justifications inside of this. But I think any court is going to lose out when they try to do that, instead of being like, well, there's a receipt right here. It says 5 Gs.
I mean, I guess it's the same as like Israel-Palestine, because it's like, whatever, land stolen, places taken, whatever, but you can't really, who's going to listen?
How far can we go back? Yeah. Totally.
Exactly.
How far back can we really source it?
We can quote this episode. Biniam says, Israel, whatever.
But in terms of listening to an outside foreign power or like a World Bank or whoever the fuck is going to be the jurisdiction, no one is going to, if you're the one in the situation, you're always going to have your own self-interest, and you're not going to be like, well, you're right. You're going to be like, nah, this is my lion now.
Right.
I've had it, you know?
This lion, he loves the Bears. He's been in jail. He loves Italian beef.
So the last example I'll give you, and we'll take a break after this. The last example I'll give you is specific actually to Ethiopia.
Oh, shit.
Ethiopia fell victim in the Battle of Magdala. Am I saying that right? Magdala in 1868. It was basically when the British came in and took pieces of Ethiopia from y'all, or at least y'all gave off like a little taste of Ethiopia to keep them from fully colonizing the entire country. So you've never been colonized, but you have had to give up a few parts to get good with people.
See, I didn't even know about this battle. I've never heard that name, Magdala.
Yeah. Magdala. And so in this fight, the British end up taking so much shit, literally so much shit, including something called the Crown of Aboud, a gold crown that once sat atop like the head of the Ethiopian church. But they took so much shit that they needed 15 elephants and 100 mules to transfer all the stuff to a nearby town for auction.
That's crazy. And now it's like, is it displayed in England just proudly?
Oh, my favorite part of this is going to be the most devastating part. My favorite part is when the Ethiopian when the Ethiopian government has like come back to them and been like, "Hey, bro, we're in modern times now. Give us back our shit." The response was, "Oh, for sure, you can have some of it, but we will return it to you only as a loan, and you have to then take your name off of any suggestions that this was yours to own in the first place."
Wow. That's so fucked up.
It's wild, dog.
And they can't. And it's
God
like
damn. I don't like this section.
And they can't, I guess they can't do anything. They just gotta, it's just like the dudes with the guns walking up to the church. They're just like, okay, what are you
gonna do?
I don't like how happy Langston is about all this.
It's all so silly. They were like, "Hey, bro, I'll lend you your stuff back to you after I stole it. Come on." That's just good, clean fun.
It's typical bully behavior. Ethiopia's getting bullied out of their items. I don't like that.
All right, we're gonna take one more break. We'll be back with more Biniam Bizuneh, more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
All right, so
I can go anywhere.
Suck my dick.
Yeah, we're back here with more Biniam Bizuneh, more My Mama Told Me, and Biniam can't wait to tell you goddamn more about the Ark of the Covenant being in Ethiopia.
I like waited for a second. I was like, okay, there's no sound cue here. Let me just jump in.
Yeah, baby, there's always a sound key.
You know what's crazy is in Ethiopia, and I think this is like in a lot of like newer democracies, there's no such thing as like, is this candidate pro-choice? What's this candidate's views on the environment? It's just like, are you the same ethnicity as me? Then you're going to be looking out for this ethnic group. That's all it is.
That's how I vote.
I voted like that once before. It didn't change much for me, but I felt good about what I did.
Which is so interesting because it's like our things that go into when we vote so different.
That's what they say. I think it's the same shit. I think it's the same shit.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that's like really focused on the issues as much as they
There's like
pretend to
20
be.
people in LA who pretend on Instagram. Everybody else, they're like, that one looks like me.
Yeah, I like the way I like the way his jib is cut.
I like it that he's not one of those.
I will say, yeah, if there was someone who looked like me, I would vote for them as I have in the past.
Immediately, let Idris run for anything. Yeah, you gotta let it slide.
If there was somebody that was from your exact neighborhood, city, all this shit, but you don't agree with them on all the issues, would you be like, yeah, but they're of my area and they look like me? What would be more important to you?
How far against my issues are they? Is it like minimal stuff? Because I got some deal breakers.
I mean, let's say they are fiscally conservative, but socially whatever, like liberal.
Liberal?
Yeah.
I can fuck with that. How fiscally conservative?
Now we're getting crazy.
Are we cutting out social services? Or are we just like flat tax? Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, pull them up by your own bootstraps. They're that conservative.
Oh, I can't get down. I was too poor.
All I'm saying.
But if they lived next door to me, they wouldn't be like that because I was broke till like 3 years ago.
You would have rubbed off on them.
They would have been broke like me. They wouldn't have they'd have had strong senses of community. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I need to know the exact alternative to this person, meaning like whoever they're running against, because if they're still better than the other person, I'm going black, baby. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm going black every time.
Like, do you know the level of white excellence you have to have for me to vote you over just like a regular black person? To be completely honest.
Just a bus driver with a briefcase.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, he looks like he got a job.
Damn, he might manage the buses. This guy's real.
He got a briefcase.
What was the name of that Godfather's Pizza Republican black dude?
Fuck. What was his name? It starts with a H. Herman Cain.
Herman Cain.
Yeah.
Now, it seems like there are people like this every couple years who just get thrust to the top of the Republican Party. And there's not a chance that I look at them and go like, but they're black, because they're just like so whack in every way, you know?
But that's different. That's
you know we're not talking about Herman.
We're not talking about. Come on, man.
I know.
We're not talking
into the
about,
conversation.
We're talking about regular motherfuckers who you would kick it with, not fucking Herman Cain.
But regular motherfuckers you would kick it with are never like running for president. Like that's
the problem, baby.
Yeah.
That's my issue. That's my issue. We need you know what we need is a black Trump. I wanna look up there and say like, yeah, he's saying it. I'm thinking it. That's what I want.
Oh no.
You know.
Now we're off. Now we're off. I thought we were banking on the community.
But I get what you're saying. It's like someone who's black with the Trump attitude, but they don't have Trump positions.
I'm being completely facetious. I think that your political candidate should be better than you. And if you don't think that, you're kind of stupid.
Yeah, no, I do think that we should be clear.
I don't want him to be like me. I ate ramen 3 times this week. Like, I want him, you got to be better.
But can he be better than you, but also be a populist at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah,
I think that exists.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
Listen, I grew up in a very Marxist household. I don't agree. There's no version of this that I'm going to be like, hell yeah, if we just vote the right way, we gonna fix it. It's like
I feel it.
One way or the other, and I do vote. I like
that you won't even let us play make believe for a second though. Like you had to like listen, brother. Like we were just having a good time.
Marxism.
Yeah, look, man, I vote, but I don't believe in that shit. I just be doing my civic duty, you know.
Man, what was that like growing up in a Marxist household?
Hey,
you drink a lot of Mountain Dew.
That's well, my dad drank Diet Cokes, so I had to show him that I was younger and more gnarly than he was. I don't know. It was chill. ate potatoes and stuff.
You had like Christmas and shit, right? It wasn't like
Yeah, no, we weren't.
Okay.
We weren't sad. We were just,
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a different political slant.
Were you allowed to watch television?
Yep, we had it. We had multiple TVs, which we could turn on and off whenever we wanted.
Then you're good.
Would your parents? How would they think of like voting in a national election? Were they like,
Well, it's not both my parents. It's specifically my dad. My mom,
Okay.
broken homes, but specifically
Gotcha.
my dad is that's his political lean.
Mhm.
Okay. What was your mom?
Mm-hmm.
So
Lady trying to make it.
okay, but we
Keeping
had
her head above water, making a wave when she can. Temporarily, my mom,
Easy credit ripper.
my mom.
I mean, so here's something that's kind of in common is that when my parents were in Ethiopia and they were students, this dude, Haile Selassie, who was the emperor, like they wanted him to be overthrown because they wanted feudalism to be gone. They thought it was unfair. They thought the rich were just getting richer. And they were part of these like student groups that would meet up at night and you had to be all secret. And they wanted to overthrow this dude and they wanted communism to come to Ethiopia because they were like, on paper, this is great, you know?
Whoa.
And then they came to America and you became a comedian. Isn't that? That's bugged out.
Yeah, you're bugging, man. Call them, apologize for what you're doing.
Look, you got the Marxist dad. You feel the same struggle. But then the dude got overthrown by the military, and the military was worse than this dude. And they were like, okay, now let's overthrow this military.
Right.
And they were part of these like they were like medics for guerrilla fighters trying to they worked so hard and were so about their political shit and then came to America to have a better life and we're like, okay, American system now. All that communism, all that shit, you know, we're just living.
Leave it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I can see how you can feel devastated by your kids' choices. Even, you know what I mean? Even if that you're not doing it to hurt your parents, you're truly just pursuing the things that make you feel whole and precious in the world. And like, they didn't come here for that. You know what I mean? That's just not what that's not the reason they're here. And it's like, oh, we ain't talking the same jazz, baby.
But also, they came here in one way or another for you to cash some checks.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? Like, ultimately, I'm sorry I'm not a doctor, but we're doing all right.
Yeah.
It's just have a better life than me, have more choices.
Right,
So,
exactly.
more freedom to do what you want. The only reason they wanted you to be a doctor was because that was a straight path to financial freedom, better life. But if you could do it another way, still accomplishing it, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, and they'll still be proud. Who cares that you live in a 1-bedroom apartment? You're still like worth shit.
Yeah. It's a one bedroom in LA, which is a house.
Well,
That's a house in Indiana.
Well, Colorado, but it's good. And you know what? I keep it clean. I got a big ass TV.
Yeah.
Big ass. All the streamers, all the platforms.
I love them, baby. You watching Paramount Plus? You got it, baby.
I got stars.
Oh.
You can watch Raising Canaan on my shit. All the 50 Cent shows.
Bro, if you have Paramount Plus, you know you're eating.
I do have Paramount Plus.
That's an ancillary streaming platform.
I hope I'm not overstepping here. I hope they give it to you for free. I hope they at least kick you.
Man, we are. That just came up recently. My views here
damn.
are in no way expressed by the Viacom Corporation.
I don't think people get. I mean, as with all my interactions with people, no one's ever been like, "Yeah, I have free Hulu," or "I have." Like, it doesn't seem like it's a thing.
I got free Peacock for a year.
Well, that's dope.
Just for a year?
Yeah, that's the first time that any of them have. HBO has been. Comedy Central and HBO have employed me for a lot of shit, and never once either of them have been like, "What's up here?"
They're like, "Oh, well, you can afford it with that salary we're paying you."
Yeah, they're like, they know what we're paying you.
That's crazy. All right. I don't know what this episode turned into.
It went far off the rails.
It really went far, but God damn it, I think we did it. I do think we nailed all the essential parts, and there's a whole lot of fat on that bone. So, we'll enjoy the meal all the same.
I think one thing I'll say is the best thing to come out of this is that I'm going to write the Ocean's 11 Ark of the Covenant Ethiopia movie.
And that's really, really important. That's very important.
I want a founder's fee. Come on now.
Definitely in that special thanks.
I'm gonna wear a dashiki to the movie theater.
Okay, we doing it.
All right. Biniam, could you tell the people at home where they can find you and what cool shit you have going on?
Yeah, you can find me Biniam Biz on any of the things. And you can watch Dave season 3. It'll be out. I don't even know when, but just look for that. You can watch, I wrote on the show Resident Alien season 2. It's out right now. And yeah, you can go on YouTube, search my name, just see some shit. Yeah.
Hell yeah. YouTube him. Go watch his shit. He's written on a bunch of cool things. And goddamn it, YouTube again. I don't know. Just keep YouTubing. Biniam.
Keep doing it. Run the numbers up.
Yeah.
David, you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Cool Guy Jokes 87 on Instagram. Buy tickets to come to my solo hour it's 50 minutes, but they're clean. And it's a good 50 minutes. You're not going to be upset. At the Elysian in Los Angeles, September 15th. Or come see Langston Kerman headlines Faded Denver, September 16th. The day after my Elysian show. Do both.
Go to both.
If you buy tickets to both and you give me proof, Langston will kiss you on the mouth.
I'll kiss you on the mouth because I presume you have a private jet, and I'm excited to make out with anybody who has a private jet.
Well, I'm gonna go to that. I'm gonna go to the LA one. I didn't even know you were doing it again. I'll be there.
See, it's gonna be great. 50 minutes though. Don't ask for anything else.
Yeah, come on, don't be unreasonable. He's got 50 for you.
I got 50 for you. I tried. I worked hard,
It's a tight 50.
It's new though. It's all new.
As always, you can follow me at Langston Kerman, and I do have some upcoming dates. September 8th through the 10th, I will be in Sandman Comedy Club. That's in Richmond, Virginia. So I'm excited to find out what the fuck that is and who's down there. And go see me in Faded the following weekend in Denver. And as always, if you want to send us your own drops, your own conspiracy theories, your own bullshit, please send it to mymommapod@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, you know what to do. Bye, bitch.